Hey, what's going on? It's Rufio from The Fred Show on 103.5 Kiss FM. And with me today, I have Todd Graves, the founder and CEO of my favorite place to get chicken fingers, Raising Cane's. How are you today, Todd?
Rufio, you're too kind. You're too kind. You're speaking my language. I love Caniacs and I love your show. So this is a good morning for me.
Right. And I could talk about your chicken fingers for like an hour. I visit your restaurant in the Harwood Heights location. It's probably 2 minutes from my house. I visit it once a week. It's my wife's favorite place to get chicken fingers. She's a chicken finger connoisseur. She loves it. She's even tried to make her own cane sauce. It's not as good as yours. I'm just saying right now, but
I love it.
But that's not why we're here. Of course, we're here to talk about your new show on Discovery Plus, Restaurant Recovery. And how it all came about. So let's talk about that. I mean, this is different than a lot of restaurant shows that I've seen. Like usually the shows about like, oh, the business sucks, the food sucks, it's not doing good. But you took a whole different approach on it. And can you tell me about the show itself and how it all came about?
Yeah, when the pandemic hit, which none of us, saw it coming, especially restaurant owners, it's nothing we ever could have put in our wheelhouse to protect ourselves or make a plan on it. But when it happened, my sales actually went up at Cane's because we have the drive-through format. But that didn't feel good because we were taking that extra business that we were getting came from mom and pop independent restaurants that are predominantly dine-in restaurants. And so you're seeing them suffer. And I'm seeing them actually close, and I'm watching these restaurants close that are important to their neighborhood. These restaurants have character. They have a soul. They're run by families that care about their customers and unique and everything. And so just thought, what are we going to do something about this? And I've had a history with television. I've seen the power of it. And so said, well, you know what? We can do a show. We can help these restaurants. And not only will they get the exposure when the show comes out, I think it's the real mission is beyond that is for people to think about supporting small business. Look, I'm a chain. I appreciate your business, but you got to think about the next time you're hungry, what is that independent restaurant? Because they have a hard life and they put everything into it. And when they go away, they never come back. So that was the preface for the show. So literally I hired a production company. We went to work during the pandemic and filmed these great 10 restaurants.
Yeah, and you've traveled across the country doing restaurants. You got your celebrity friends helping you out: Snoop Dogg, Shaquille O'Neal, Rob Schneider, and the actual Chicago episode aired on Discovery Plus, and you guys went to Mr. Beef. How did you guys connect with Mr. Beef?
Yeah, I mean, look, I love Chicago and I love Chicago's food, and then Chicago's just famous for deep dish pizza and Italian sandwiches, and I'm like, for me, like. I just love them, right? And so I love to go to a bunch of different places, but Mr. Beef's my go-to, and it's just classic. And and Joe and Chris, they're just these incredible, they're just awesome. And I love that Italian banter back and forth, and they're just cool, It's not just about the sandwich; it's about them, and I respect them because in their neighborhood, you've seen so many things, old businesses that sold and they went vertical, right? And the neighborhoods changed, but they're staying and they're keeping that for the neighborhood. So. I know what could you do when all of a sudden overnight your business drops to where you're now selling 2 to 3 sandwiches a day? They couldn't have prepared for it. And so, for me, I was just like you said, this show is not about, are you doing, it's not one of those you go in and say your restaurant sucks, you're doing this wrong, your food's bad and all these stuff. This is successful restaurant owners that are very good at what they do. It's just because of the pandemic. And then when you're trying to just keep the doors open, and you're racking up debt, you can't think of the things that I can with my team when our business is fine and don't have that extra stress. And so, anyway, it just felt good to come out and help Mr. Beef and Joe and Chris. I mean, what just incredible guys. An incredible sandwich. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, like Mr. Beef is right there on Orleans Street, and it's close to, I mean, having a business downtown Chicago alone, I mean, more than your business is people that come to work every day, your lunch business, your office business. And no one was going to work. They're close to a lot of nightlife places, and those all were shut down. So
no tourism. Tourism went to nothing. It was ghost town. It was crazy for me to be in Chicago during the pandemic. I went twice, and it was crazy not seeing the robust downtown. Man, it was sad.
Yeah. Now, what are the kind of things? What are the things you've done for not just Mr. Beef, but the other restaurants as far as helping them out during the pandemic?
Yeah, quite a bit. Like, so what I saw was first things to help them get really COVID safe, and they were doing a good job with it. We kind of just took it to another level, right? Whether it's plexiglass dividers, flow and ingress in and out of your restaurants, dividers. So even with Mr. Beef, right, helping them with the counter and doing the plexiglass, that famous table there by to sit in communal. Well, you're not going to take that sucker out, but you did need to divide it with all these plexiglass dividers because, communal just wasn't a thing during the pandemic, right? So anyway, those kind of things at first. So first, it's like, let me help you with safety. Second is, how do you get sales back immediately? So for a place like Mr. Beef and other places, billboard blitzes, social media blitzes, things like that, because these restaurants are destination. People will go, but they have to be reminded. And they also had to be reminded, hey, we need your business, right? So it was like doing that. And then helping them out and getting better for the future. It was like, how can you make their business better in the future? So I had to convert a lot of the restaurants from dine-in restaurants to go machines and takeout and getting them efficient. That had to do with like mobile ordering, curbside pickup, takeout areas, ordering through the website, which takes a lot of IT work, to get that done. But now that the dining's coming back and they raise their sales, they're actually doing better than before, which is really exciting.
Yeah, I've driven past there recently, and you changed the storefront, the signage. It looks really nice over there. Yeah, it really, like I said, it's an iconic spot in downtown Chicago, but now it even looks cooler because of the work you've done. And I saw that you also got Heinz to donate ketchup and free oil for a year. So it's pretty cool stuff that you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, look, when I reached out to like our vendors and then who was their vendors too, Heinz, hey, can you help them out with ketchup and then some dollars? And so they're like, yeah, free ketchup a year, $15,000. Bunge Oil produced for a whole year of oil. They go through a lot of oil. All these things add up. And I was able to help them out with some bills because they racked up serious credit card debt. And then some of the improvements we made, which were things they wanted to do, they just didn't have the money to do. Like you said, the storefront, make it look nicer inside, adding a little warmth to it. It really came out well. And we had some celebrity guests on this one as well.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know if I could say who it was.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Roquan Smith of the Chicago Bears, awesome linebacker. Hopefully he eats Mr. Beef before every game and gets and has an amazing season. I mean, the Bears just had a great draft. So, it's awesome what you're doing. I mean, not just here in Chicago, but across the country to help. Like you said, it's your business was doing more business during the pandemic, but you thought about the mom and pop of the worlds that a lot of places had to close down, not because the restaurant was no good. It's just because of the pandemic and everyone lost a lot of business. So what you're doing is great. Now, do you see you doing more of this? Like, is it going to continue after these, 10 restaurants?
I don't know. It was a whole COVID thing, right? So we even went in, restaurant COVID was COVID. So I went in going, we can help these restaurants during this time. And hopefully by the time we get the show out there, we'll be out of the pandemic. We're not out of it yet, but we're making our way out, right? So I didn't think about anything else. But I want to tell you, when you give, this is a thing in life. When you give, you get more back in return. And I was just very prideful. Same with my team at Cane's, everybody that helped, production crew. Like we were just like, God, that's an incredible feeling, right? And then we start thinking and talking. We're like, look, even if we get out of this pandemic, there's always going to be a hurricane. There's always going to be a fire. There's always going to be people that couldn't prepare for certain things that don't have the same resources as us. So strongly considering it, because it just felt good to help good people that are going to pay it forward themselves.
Right. Well, I hope so. I hope this turns into a huge series for you. I love what you're doing. I mean, just to have that heart to be like, hey, man, these people need help and I'm the person that can do it. And like you said, like someone always needs that help. And I hope you continue to do this series, continued success with your business. And thank you for sitting in with me this morning. And I look forward to eating your chicken fingers. I mean, like, I can't talk about it enough, man. Like that's the one thing on your menu. That's it. It's chicken fingers, French fries, Texas toast, and that's it. Like it's a winning recipe, and some people don't understand that. Like they have like 800 things on your menu, but and you don't ever change it up. You're not like, I'm not going to ask you if you're going to get into the chicken sandwich game like everyone else is getting into the chicken sandwich game, but you don't need to because you have these chicken tenders and people can make their own sandwich with the Texas toast. I know the secret menu. I'm down with that. I'm down with that. So, but thank you so much. I mean, what you did with restaurant recovery and everything you've done for the pandemic for these mom and pop shops. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being with me today, and go watch Restaurant Recovery, available now on Discovery Plus, that Chicago episode with Mr. Beef and Roquan Smith. And go visit Mr. Beef. After you watch the episode, definitely check out the new digs. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? To see these people, the restaurants being reborn during the pandemic, and giving them a visit, visiting those mom and pop shops, and not just the ones that you visit, but the ones in your local town and your neighborhood. Go visit them, because they're the ones that have been hurt the most during this pandemic. So Todd Graves, CEO, founder of Raising Cane's, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here.
Rufio, thanks so much for the exposure for Mr. Beef. We appreciate it.